Hi there, today I'm looking at this. This is the Tonor TC-777 USB condenser microphone. This has been sent to me by the guys at Tonor to have a look at. And I've done a lot of these in the past, actually. Well, I say a lot, a fair few of these in the past. And I like looking at these. I like looking at these condenser microphones because it always amazes me how much you can get on a budget these days. So this is a kind of budget mic, I guess. It's comes in at about £35, something like that. So for a condenser mic, you know, it's not much money at all. So this video is going to be in 3 parts. I'm going to do an unboxing and first impressions, just tell you what I think of the kind of build quality and things like that. Then I'm going to just talk a little bit about the specs of the microphone, and then the last bit, but the most important bit certainly, is the audio test. And if you do just want to go to the audio test, jump to this time code now, and you can hear just all the tech checks on the audio. So let's get into the box. Okay, so in the box we get a service card, an instruction manual in various different languages there, and we've got a small little pop filter there. It's really tiny, isn't it? I was expecting it to be bigger than that. Is that a dual layer? Yeah, it is. It's a dual layer pop filter there. Small little screw-on attachment. And we also get a foam cover for the mic as well, if you want to use that. I think you'd need to use that together with the pop filter. You might not even need to use either of those, actually. And in here we have the mic and the stand. Oh, is this all attached? Is this all one piece? Oh, it looks like it is. Okay, interesting. So they've done it all as kind of one piece here. Let's zoom out a little bit. So this is kind of awkward to show you, actually. So we have our microphone here, and they have the stand. So obviously you can take the microphone off the stand, but I guess it's designed to go in the kind of rubber bands there. So it's got a sort of rubber band style shock mount on there, which is quite nice. And it just sits in there like that with the shock mount. And then you have, oh, good start. Yeah, they just slip on, that's fine. And that just sort of sits like that. If I can fit that in there. Can I zoom out any more on this? There we go, a little bit more. That just sits like that. And then we attach our pop filter onto here, I think. Just screw that on somehow, like that, and pull that down in front, I think. There you go, that's the general idea. So we have our mic like that, connected all to your computer as a sort of audio interface. Yeah, but, I mean, build quality wise, the microphone is, I think this is all, I'll just try and take this out actually. I want to show you this separately. So the microphone itself this is all plastic. None of this is metal. The grill here is metal, but the microphone is plastic. So I don't know how much sound would transfer through this, but I wouldn't worry about that too much because the shock mount does seem to be fairly decent and would probably protect the mic from being touched. I think this is clearly a microphone that is designed to be used with the shock mount that it's provided with, because it hasn't got any kind of standard fittings on here. You know, you haven't got a standard thread on here. This is very non-standard shape and non-standard size. So you really want to be using this mic with the stand it comes with, which is fair enough. I mean, this is designed, I think, mainly for probably like for sort of conference call use and anything like that, any kind of video calls or whatever would definitely benefit from using a mic like this. You could use it for sort of podcasting or something like that. But I think when you're doing podcasts, people tend to go for kind of XLR mics purely because of the fact they fit the back of something like a Rodecaster or something. So yeah, there we go. There's the mic. So I'm just going to have a look on the side of the box here and have a little chat about the specs, because I was taking a look at this before and I was kind of thinking, some of these specs, they're not amazing. So I think the audio test will be the ultimate, deciding factor here for me, because the specs on the side here, first of all, it's a cardioid polar pattern, which is absolutely fair. I mean, that means you're going to have to use this from ideally sort of straight on like that. This will be straight on to the Tonor. It's a side address microphone, and you'll be using it probably, this would be my guess at this point, I haven't used it yet, from a distance of like sort of about 5 centimeters or so. And you can't really veer with a cardioid pattern, you can't really go off more than about 45 degrees. So about 22 degrees either way. Otherwise you start sort of dropping level wise, and it'll start having an impact on the actual audio quality itself. You'll lose certain frequencies, and it won't be as quite as sort of rich sounding. It won't be sort of quite as evenly EQ'd, if you like. So yeah, you want to kind of use it like this, and however set up the stand to do that in whichever way you need to. The pop filter itself, I'm not sure if that's a gimmick or whether or not it is absolutely required, because it does have a mesh inside here. It has a grill over this, and then another mesh inside. So I imagine this performs pretty well without it, but we'll see. Okay, but on the side of the box, it's got cardioid polar pattern. Sample rate of the device is fixed. It's fixed at 44.1 16-bit. Now, I have no personal objection to 44.1. It's a common sample rate, but most audio devices, most video work, anything like that is done at 48K. And while, of course, you can sample rate convert and you can change that down to, 44.1 can be upsampled to 48. It's no problem to do that, as long as you do it right, as long as you do it correctly. Otherwise, you're going to get sort of distortion on your audio. And some software doesn't deal with that terribly well. So yeah, it's kind of, I've used some NVIDIA capture stuff in the past, and I've used a mic that didn't have the right sample rate. So NVIDIA was like, I need 48K. Using a 44.1 mic isn't going to work with that. But, I think there's probably a fair chance you wouldn't have much of a problem with it. But still, surprising it's not 48. Frequency response is 100 to 16 kilohertz. Surprisingly small frequency response for a condenser mic. I would have thought that a condenser mic would probably drop a little bit lower than that, and certainly go up to like 20K or 18 or 20K. 100 hertz is fine, I think, for the use of this mic. It's going to be used for vocals, and it's 100 hertz is sort of, it's what you would usually use a mic. A lot of microphones might have a high-pass filter on, so a low cut on the microphone itself, or you'll have a low cut option on your desk, on your mixing desk, or in your software. And a lot of people would engage that because it stops kind of rumbles from outside, whether it be traffic or maybe a bit of wind noise or something blowing on the microphone. And this just doesn't allow you to go any lower. So it's almost like either that's permanently engaged, or it just permanently turned on, or it just doesn't go any lower. Not too sure. So a little bit limited on the frequency response, but don't get me wrong, it's still going to, reckon it's still going to sound pretty good. And used in isolation, if you just hear this microphone, you will probably think it sounds fine. Sensitivity, minus 38 dB. No problems there. And then we've got a maximum sound pressure level, a max SPL of 110 decibels. Now, this, for example, this microphone here, which you can't see actually at the moment. So this is the Sennheiser MK8, and yeah, of course, this is a more expensive microphone. But this has a maximum sound pressure level of 142 dB, which is considerably more than a microphone like this. And if you talk about dynamic microphones, something like the SM7B, again, not really comparing apples with apples here because it's a considerably more expensive microphone. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what kind of figures we're talking about. That has an SPL of in excess of 180 decibels. I mean, that is eardrum blowingly loud. And 110 dB isn't a great figure for sound pressure level. So what does that mean anyway? For those of you who are watching this video, you're probably thinking, well, so what? What the hell does that mean? Well, what it means is you can't use this for any kind of drum stuff, any kind of bass drum or anything like that, because the sound pressure levels generated by that are just going to be too much. You're going to get distortion. And also other stuff like even just tambourines, or maybe even just the sharp kind of twang of an acoustic guitar string or whatever. I mean, if you play beautiful acoustic guitar, if you've got nylon strings or something, you'd probably be okay. But if you've got steel strings and you sometimes get that real kind of like ding sort of noise off it, that would be you'd be surprised how loud that is. And a mic like this isn't going to handle that. You're going to get distortion with that then, because it exceeds the SPL of the microphone at 110 dB. For vocal, for conference calls, which is what this is aimed at, going to be absolutely fine. So yeah, not a great figure on SPL, but it's okay. Oops. And again, signal to noise ratio 56 dB. Don't really know if that's right, because again, it suggests that the mic might be quite noisy, but again, we'll have to wait and see. So if you stuck with me during this introduction bit, let's get on to the most important part, which is the audio test. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get this hooked up to my MacBook here, and I'm going to record some clips. So let me just connect it up first of all, because I still have a USB port on this MacBook. Amazing, hey? I don't know whether you won't be able to. Don't think you'll be able to see this on the actual camera here. But I'm still gonna. I can't find the USB port, however. There we go. Okay, so it's immediately told me that the list of audio devices connected has changed. Do you want to open the hardware preferences? Yes, I do. And I can immediately see there, which if I just hold my laptop up to the camera, you can immediately see that we have our... Is that going to change the brightness? Let me just lower that brightness a bit. We have the Tonor device showing up nice and clean, nice and clear there. I was going to say the actual laptop screen isn't clean at all. The TC-777 audio device is showing up there. Dead easy. Select that. And I should be good to go. So I'll get recording, see what you think. Okay, so here's a test of the Tonor TC-777 USB condenser microphone. This is at a distance of about 5 centimeters. This is without the pop filter at the moment. I'll put that in front of the mic in a second so you can hear if it makes any difference in the quality. So just test for plosives. How does that sound? 1 2 1 2. Yeah, it probably looks like there's something coming through there. And background noise. Well, sitting about minus 63 dB, so not terribly quiet, but it's certainly very quiet in here. So we've got no other audio in here. I've turned everything off to make sure that you don't get any background noise. Okay, and as far as polar pattern is concerned, let's just move to the side of the microphone, even though this gooseneck thing is getting in the way. Let's just move to the side, 90 degrees to the left-hand side. 1 2 1 2, that's 90 degrees from 5 centimeters. And that's 180 degrees around the back of the mic, basically. And back to the front of the mic again. So you can hear what a difference in the audio quality it makes as you go round to the side and back of the microphone. Okay, now that's moving the pop filter in front. So let's try again. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, it does seem to do a much better job of that. So maybe you do need to use that. And what about high levels now going into the mic? Because the SPL was did seem to be a little bit limited, but I don't think I'm going to shout to 110 dB anyway. But let's see how it handles high levels. So I am going to speak fairly loudly now. So if you are listening on headphones, watch out. This will cause a sudden increase in level, I imagine. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, so that's peaking at about -1, -2 dB. 2 2 2. One more test I haven't done is rejection, noise rejection from other surfaces. So on my desk here, If I'm tapping, if I was knocking my desk, seems okay. Handling the stand itself. That's handling the stand. And what about handling the microphone itself? So I've just got taking the microphone out of the stand now, and I'm just holding it handheld. And that's me moving around the microphone a little bit. And let's try from a slightly further away. So this is the microphone from maybe a sort of distance you might use it if you're on a conference call and you're sat and you wanted to have it just next to your laptop. Just sort of get an idea. I'm in a reasonably good room as far as that's concerned, so you shouldn't be getting too much sort of reverb in the background, but that's at a distance of about 30 centimeters. And let's check for proximity effects. So as I move closer to the mic, how much difference does it make to the sound quality? And can we get a sort of nice kind of proximity effect close up where the mic becomes quite sweet and crisp and quite intimate? How does that sound? All right, thanks. Join me now for the conclusion of the Tonor TC-777 USB microphone. So what do I think? Well, I'm going to be pretty brutally honest here, actually. Sound quality-wise, for the money, it's okay. It sounds a little bit rough around the edges compared to some other mics I've heard at this price point. It sounds to me like it's being quite heavily EQ'd internally up at the top end to make it sound really sweet and make it sound really nice. And that can sound a bit harsh at times. And kind of one of the reasons it makes me think that is because if you go off axis, so if you talk like into the side of the microphone like this, into the 90 degrees off axis, the level drops down, and usually what happens on a mic is that will also make the audio quite dull sounding as well. But not on this. It still keeps it really, really bright, which makes me think that the EQ is happening in here. And that sort of it's just a bit too much, in my opinion. But I think overall it sounds good. It is no good for loud levels. If you're going to scream down this mic, if you're going to have someone who's shouting down this mic, it's going to distort and it will sound bad. Keep people at a reasonable distance from it, sort of, maybe a bit. I said originally about 5 centimeters. If you've got someone who's speaking a bit louder, keep that more 15, 20 centimeters. Otherwise, the level coming out, it's not going to hit 0 dB on your kind of meters. It's never going to get that far. It's going to hit whatever you've got your volume set to, and it will just distort because the mic can't handle any more than that. And that's a common problem with these type of microphones. It's the ones I've tested before. They've all had the same issue. The Fifine, the in the Maono mic, they all have the same sort of issue with them. Design-wise, well, it's a personal thing, isn't it? I don't want to slate it too much by saying it's horrible, but I don't like it. Okay, this kind of reminds me of kind of like a horror film or something. And the fact that the mic is such a custom design to fit in this stand really is a downside. It's just, I don't know. I don't like the style of the microphone. I don't like the color of it, and it's plastic as well, which just gives it a horrible feel. I think it's fine. It does the job, but I think for the money, you can do better than this. But again, you might really like it, and who am I to judge? It might fit with your, I don't know, your PC or your room or something. It might just work perfectly for your taste. You might love the color metallic blue or whatever. But for me, I'm not a big fan. And equally with the accessory, so in this case the stand here, the way it fits in is fine with the rubber bands like that. But the stand itself, based on the handling noise test there that I did, really handling the microphone makes about the same amount of noise as handling the stand, which again suggests the shock mount isn't really doing a great deal at all. And the other main thing is this. This is just in the way. I'll put this on. I'll put this on if I'm getting problems with plosives, but the chances are I might want to be using this a bit further away, may have it sat on the desk using it, and I won't have any issues with that then, because plosives sort of are really more kind of close-up stuff. They die off fairly quickly as you're a little bit further back, particularly as it has its own grill on. So I want to get rid of this. Can I take it off? No, I can't. I can take this bit off, but then I'm left with this. To me, it's just hasn't been well thought through at all as far as a stand is concerned. I think you can buy better mics than this for the money, and although it does sound absolutely fine and is not a bad mic, it's not the best that I've tested in this class. So they're my honest thoughts. If I get sent stuff like this, I want to be completely honest about the product. I don't want to say something is amazing just because I got sent it. I want to say what I think of it, and I will always say what I think of it. So that's what I think of this particular microphone. Sounds good enough for the money. A little bit harsh in the top end. Not great high pressure, high sound levels at all. Fine for most vocal. And as far as the whole setup with the stand and stuff, I just don't like it. Not for me. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you think that's hope you think that's a fair review. You can gauge whether or not this is something you want, because you can gauge whether this is going to annoy you or whether you think this is an absolutely vital thing to have and you want to have it sat there on the stand at all times. The fact that I can't remove it and adjust it in the way that I want, just sort of, I find a little bit irritating. But thanks a lot, and I will see you very soon.